Well, you get there any way you can. It's the biggest night of the year for Hollywood, the Academy Awards night. It started 54 years ago in 1929 as a dinner for 250 people, and now the show is broadcast to 1/3 billion people worldwide. Joining me in the balcony for this special critics look at this year's awards, Roger Ebert, film critic of the Chicago Sun-Times.
And across the aisle from me, Gene Siskel, film critic of the Chicago Tribune. And an opening announcement about our ground rules on this program. This program is not going to be devoted to our predictions of who we think will win the Oscars on April the 11th. The two of us are critics. We're not handicappers. And so instead of trying to second-guess the Academy on this show and how they're going to vote, we're going to give our own personal preferences as critics. And at the end of the show, we'll also give our Stinker of the Year award to the year's worst Oscar nomination. Now, Gene starts with the first category, which is Best Actor.
Some very strong performances this year in this category, and the first nominee is Jack Lemmon, his 7th Best Actor nomination, playing the distraught businessman father of a missing journalist in South America in the political drama Missing.
Son, I just want you to reach those people and tell them I will take Charles back in any condition. I'm not going to make a stink. I'm not going to go to the newspapers. You make out any kind of a release form, I will sign it. I will absolve anyone, everyone, of everything. I just want my boy back.
Actually, I don't think there's anything special about that performance. It's mostly Jack Lemmon's familiar mannerisms that frankly got annoyingly hysterical at the end of the picture. In my opinion, he got the nomination in part because he's so popular with his fellow actors. What do you think?
I call this an obligatory nomination. You take a popular Hollywood statesman, you give him a political movie that makes a serious statement. He wins the award at the Cannes Film Festival, so give him the nomination. If they'd shown a little more imagination, they might have given it to one of the younger people who had something good this year, like Kevin Kline in Sophie's Choice or Richard Gere in Officer and a Gentleman.
I agree with you. I think it was a much better role than the Gere role. The next nominee, Peter O'Toole, his 7th nomination. He's never won, giving a marvelous comic performance as a 50s movie star trying to stay sober in the wonderful comedy My Favorite Year.
Comedy is such a mystery to me. I feel the way Edmund Kean did.
The great English actor.
On his deathbed, Kean was asked how he felt. He answered, "Dying is easy. Comedy is hard."
He's great. I think Peter O'Toole is one of our very finest actors, mixing old-style grandeur and theatricality, the movie stars of the old, with a very modern contemporary wit. It is difficult to imagine another actor today who could play this role in My Favorite Year as well as he did.
When I saw O'Toole, I kept thinking of flamboyant understatement. He is playing this absolutely bizarre character, and yet he does it with such a level of kind of restraint, and yet right off the edge. It's very funny, without overacting.
He's marvelous. As I said, I don't know anyone who could do this role better. Our next nominee, 37-year-old Ben Kingsley, the British stage actor who made his feature film debut playing the Indian pacifist leader Mohandas K. Gandhi in the epic drama Gandhi.
I am a Muslim, and a Hindu, and a Christian, and a Jew, and so are all of you. When you wave those flags and shout, you send fear into the hearts of your brothers. That is not the India I want. Stop it. For God's sake, stop it.
This is a performance that legitimately can be called great because the performance is the movie. If Kingsley for one moment had failed to convince us he was Gandhi, or a very close approximation, the movie would have become more of an illustrated classic comic book of Gandhi's life rather than the deeply moving emotional experience it was.
And the fact that Kingsley is British might have had something to do with that, because he does it, he performs as a restrained professional here. I think that an American actor might have said, well, I have to be inhabited by the soul of Gandhi. I have to, you know, constantly be rethinking his entire philosophy, and then we would have gotten an overwrought performance instead of the quiet authority that Ben Kingsley brings.
That's a very good point. He's small, and yet he lets the power inside him look big.
Yeah.
The next nominee, Paul Newman, his 6th Best Actor nomination, playing an alcoholic attorney looking for salvation through one more trial.
What's your name?
Laura.
Mine's Frank. Furthermore, you came back to see me tonight.
What if it wasn't you I came back here to see tonight?
Well, you got lucky.
Newman is quite solid in this courtroom drama, but I didn't find anything special about the performance. To me, this was a standard heavy drinker character, and Newman gave a standard heavy drinker characterization.
Nothing standard about it. I think if you took Paul Newman aside and got him to really level with you, he might tell you that this role meant more to him than anything he played in a long time. I think he really put his heart and soul into it, and I liked it a lot more than you did.
Okay. The final nominee, his 5th nomination in 16 years, Dustin Hoffman, playing a New York actor and a New York actress in Tootsie.
Dorothy,
Yes.
I want you.
I beg your pardon.
I've never wanted a woman this much.
Oh, please, John, please, perhaps another time.
Put me away, it'll kill me.
Not you personally. I don't want to get involved emotionally at this time.
Then I'll take straight sex.
I don't want to hurt you.
I love that performance, trying to throw a punch and pass for a woman at the same time. The strength of this performance is that Dustin Hoffman does much more than just successfully impersonate a woman, even though that's no mean accomplishment. What Hoffman does in Tootsie is actually create a very specific woman character, a plain-looking, sad, but strong woman, one we're very sad to see disappear at the end of the movie.
I liked it too. I was amazed because when Dorothy Michaels was on the screen, I found myself, I was reacting to Dorothy Michaels,
Yes.
not to Hoffman playing a woman,
Right.
but to a woman playing a character on a soap opera. It was a very interesting performance.
Don't you want to see that woman character again? I would like to see another picture with her.
Don't you think that Dustin Hoffman would rather die than make a sequel and play Dorothy Michaels
You're
again?
probably right. Okay, now it's decision time, our kind of decision time on this Oscar show. We have 2 envelopes, one containing Roger's preference as a critic for the best of the 5 nominated performances, the one he'd vote for if he had an Oscar ballot, and I have his choice, and he has an envelope containing my choice. Let's see what you would have voted for.
I can't wait.
Yeah, you know. Oh, well, now I get it with your comments at the end there. Paul Newman in The Verdict.
Paul Newman is my choice if I had a ballot in this category, and I had a lot of empathy for his performance in The Verdict. I felt he did a very good job of making us feel every single hurt and fear and uncertainty of that lawyer, a man who was once on the top of the world and still tries to act that way, and is a little baffled that he'd rather drink all day than do the work that he's capable of doing. Here's one of his good barroom scenes. He's a has-been on the outside, but inside the saloon he's still a charmer when he has a few drinks under his belt.
Give me, Frankie.
Did you find an apartment?
Still looking.
You changed my life today. What'd you do?
Changed my room at the hotel.
Why'd you do that?
TV didn't work.
The hotel you're staying
And what are you? A cop?
in? No, I'm a lawyer.
My ex-husband was a lawyer.
Nice. Wonderful for you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it was, actually.
He was, actually. How come you called it off?
Who said I'm the one that called it off?
Well, the brick house says you divorced him.
That's Charlotte Rampling, and that is obviously Paul Newman, blue eyes and all. A lot of the actors who are nominated this year are in real complicated disguises. Not Newman, he looks just like Paul Newman. But actors love disguises. They love to grow beards or shave their heads, wear funny costumes, pretend to be somebody else. But for my money, it's a lot harder to be somebody else when what you're disguising is yourself. And Newman, who looks just like Paul Newman in this movie, sounds and feels like Frank Galvin, an alcoholic trying to pull it all back together again. And I think Newman's performance was a lot harder than it looks for that reason.
Okay, well now why don't you get to my choice?
Oh, I forgot here. You don't agree, in other words.
You'll find out when you open the envelope.
Okay, something tells me you don't.
Why don't you
Just
try
look away.
ripping? That always helps. It's like they do it on this big show, you know?
And your choice is Dustin Hoffman for Tootsie.
That's exactly
Okay.
right. I'm casting my vote for Dustin Hoffman in his double role in Tootsie. Why? Because just like with Ben Kingsley and Gandhi, Dustin Hoffman's performance in Tootsie is the movie, the whole movie. We believe the woman character he creates in Tootsie. We see that character of Dorothy Michaels, and because of this, Tootsie becomes a rich, tender comedy. It really is something special. Here's a wonderful scene from Tootsie where Hoffman surprises his agent with his woman's disguise. Watch the way he pops from one character to the other. The agent is played by Sidney Pollack, who directed Tootsie.
Wait a minute. Wait.
I'm new in town and I'm awfully lonely. I wondered if you wouldn't mind buying me lunch.
Wait, hold on. You can't. Gregory, this was... Ah!
George. It's Michael Dorsey, okay?
your favorite client.
How are you?
Last time you got me a job, it was a tomato.
Yeah? Swear to God?
Michael.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I begged you to get some therapy.
I know, and you also told me that no one would ever hire me again.
Jesus Christ, you think this is going to make a difference?
I got a soap, George. I'm the new woman administrator on Southwest General.
You're
ought to
what?
Congratulate me. They almost didn't hire me because they thought I looked too feminine.
Something from the bar.
Isn't that amazing?
Please, could you get me a double vodka right away, please?
You know?
For the lady?
Oh, how about a Dubonnet with a twist?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. That's a lovely glass.
Thank you.
Welcome.
That is dazzling. One of the greatest attributes an actor can have is something that George C. Scott calls a joy of performing quality, meaning that while an actor is disappearing into his character, the actor silently gives off a joyful quality that shows he is enjoying performing for us. I don't know any actor who displays a greater joy of performing right now while staying in character than Dustin Hoffman. His character of Dorothy Michaels and his character of the actor Michael Dorsey, the guy with the deep voice there in the dress, are both sad and joyful at the same time. Hoffman gets my vote, and just because he won an Academy Award 3 years ago for Kramer versus Kramer doesn't mean that he doesn't deserve another one right now.
So we have a disagreement in this category.
Okay.
We choose different people, and the discussion is not over because coming up at the movies, we're going to support our separate choices by borrowing a technique from TV sports. Instant replays of the scenes that you just saw, but with our comments. Well, I was just arguing with Gene, or explaining to Gene, that Paul Newman's performance in The Verdict was all the more subtle because he starts out with his own materials, his own face, his voice, his eyes, his own mannerisms, and he makes somebody completely different out of those tools. And now I have to defend that. And I'm going to use an instant replay technique from television sports. Let's look at that scene with Paul Newman once again, and this time I'm going to talk about what's going through my mind while I'm watching him. Okay, here he comes around, and the bartender's all trained. Drink is all ready. No prompting. Has the drink. Now, I like what he does with the handkerchief here, or the napkin, whatever that is. His mouth. And then, look, he probably has a very clammy palm. He's probably paranoid about all the symptoms of his alcoholism, such as sweaty palms and so forth, because he's got this plan in mind to walk down the bar and talk to this woman. He's got his opening line already, "It changed my life," real original. It's over her shoulder because it's his scene, so we see her in three-quarter profile, and then we get him in close-up. And this is interesting because it's undeniably Paul Newman. He's handsome, he's charming, but he lacks a little self-confidence here. I think that's what he wants to do. He's a little bit shaky. That's the character, Frank Galvin. He's been drinking all day.
Nice.
And there's another thing here, if you listen to the voice. You can hear what he's saying, but the voice is a little slurred around the edges.
Actually, how come you called it off?
Who said I'm the one who called it off?
Oh. Well, the brick house says you divorced him.
There's just that slight edge of formality in his voice there, as if he has in his mind what I want to say and how I'm going to say it without sounding as drunk as I know I am. And that's, he kind of does that all through the movie. It's
forced. It's forced.
It's forced, but it's not the stage Irishman slur, you know. It's really subtle, and yet it's nicely done.
Okay, now it's my turn to play instant replay analyst with that Russian tea room scene with Dustin Hoffman revealing to his astonished agent that, yes, it is he, Michael Dorsey, wearing a dress.
I'm really counting on awfully lonely. I wondered if he wouldn't mind buying me lunch.
Wait, hold on.
Now, this is a difficult scene for Dustin Hoffman. All he has to work with, his hands and his voice.
George, it's
Michael Dorsey, okay? Your favorite client.
how are you?
I love the way he goes down even deeper with the voice. And the hands up close and tight and pretty when he's a woman, farther apart and masculine when he's playing the man. Look at the framing here. Sidney Pollack behind him, a strong masculine picture frame. He's a tough guy. He's a real man here. But wait when we cut to Dustin Hoffman. Look what's behind him. Yeah, a samovar, feminine, servile. And now the choices of drinks and clothing, noticing.
Feminine.
Something from the bar.
Isn't that amazing?
Please, could you get me a double vodka right away,
You know?
please?
For the lady?
Oh, how about a Dubonnet with a twist?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. That's a lovely glass.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Now, some of the credit has to go to the writing there. It's marvelous. But still, again, he's playing two characters trapped inside that little booth. All he has to work with, hands and voice. A great performance.
Well, it is a good performance, but you know, a lot of people looking at this category would probably say that the best performance was by Ben Kingsley in Gandhi, and he was not the choice of either one of us.
Right, he's the favorite of the serious acting school.
Right, right.
I think it was a great performance, and it's sort of a toss-up between Kingsley and Hoffman for me, frankly. I'm picking Hoffman because he accomplished something I'd never seen before in the movies, a man playing a woman character convincingly, not Cary Grant in drag, not Jack Lemmon in drag, and something like that, a real full character. I give him the nod on that basis.
I liked Hoffman too, but I would put him third after Newman and after Kingsley, because I think that basically what he was doing was a good, sound, professional performance, and I feel that Kingsley to a degree, and Newman even to a greater degree, are really playing these roles from their heart. I don't believe that Dorothy Michaels really comes from Dustin Hoffman's heart so much as Dorothy comes from his skill, from his craft.
I buy the heart there. No, I think there's a heart there. I think there's a very sad, sweet woman. I think that's why you were touched, as you mentioned, by the Dorothy Michaels character. That's why we remember the character. Let me ask you this question, though. Do you think Paul Newman could play the role that Dustin Hoffman did?
What is this, an exam? I don't think. I don't think that's a relevant question. I
just want to show you how difficult I think it is to do.
Whereas, you think that Dustin Hoffman could play the role that Paul Newman played?
Yes, he played one fairly similar in Lenny, a guy down and out.
Well, I just don't believe that that's a valid criteria. I believe that neither one of them could play the role that Ben Kingsley did. None of them could play the role that Peter O'Toole did. So, case closed. And if we pick the Oscars, continues to one of the most competitive categories this year, Best Supporting Actress. Just a reminder about our ground rules. We're not predicting the Oscar winners on this special program. What we're doing is giving our own choices if we pick the Oscars. And the next category is Best Supporting Actress. Let's take a look at this year's nominees. This is Lesley Ann Warren's first Academy Award nomination. She plays James Garner's dippy girlfriend in Victor Victoria.
That's it. Enchanted.
Oh, me too.
Well, what do you think of our new star?
He thinks he's a phony.
Oh, I think she's very talented.
But he doesn't think you're a man.
I'll tell her what I think.
Her, you see?
Norma, Mingle.
Oh, sure.
Our next nominee is Kim Stanley, who played Frances Farmer's possessive, domineering stage mother in the movie Frances.
Frances, you can't do that. You can't do that to your fans. I mean, they stuck through this whole nightmare with you. You can't turn your back on them. They love you.
Mom, haven't you heard what I said?
I told him that he could come up here and that you would prove that you're all right.
Next nominee is Glenn Close in her feature film debut. She played Robin Williams' cheerfully eccentric mother in The World According to Garth.
Paul?
Oh, yes.
How do you know?
Oh, just a writer's instinct.
I want to talk with one of them.
Oh, come on.
No, I want to ask her about something.
About what?
I want to ask her about lust.
The next nominee is Jessica Lange, not only nominated for Best Actress, but also for Best Supporting Actress here, playing one of the saner and sweeter people in Tootsie. She was the girl that Dustin Hoffman's Dorothy falls in love with.
Dorothy, it's me.
No, it's me.
No, it's me.
No, it's me.
No, it's me. I'm just not well adjusted enough. I mean, I'm sure I've got the same impulses. I mean, obviously I did have the same
Don't
impulse.
just jump to conclusions about that impulse. That impulse is a good impulse, Julie. If you can just see me out of these clothes,
No.
The last nominee in this category is Terry Garr, who played Dustin Hoffman's other girlfriend, also in Tootsie.
Get your favorite kind.
Chocolate-covered cherry?
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, and a card.
No, don't do it. I was very angry when I wrote that.
Thank you for the lovely night in front of the fire. Missing you less. This isn't even for me. This is another girl's candy.
Those are the nominations for Best Supporting Actress, and now it's time to go to the envelopes.
You have all
and
five
Mr.
in there?
Siskel, I have last year's over on this side, right. Your nomination in this category, your selection,
yes,
Jessica Lange for Tootsie.
You got the right envelope.
Might want to look at mine there. I'm sure you'll find it very educational.
Hey, what do you know? You're getting smarter. You also vote for Jessica Lange for Tootsie.
I would vote for Tootsie and Jessica Lange in this category, and I picked Jessica Lange not only because she's so sweet and likable in Tootsie, which she certainly is, but also because of how hard it is to find the right notes to play in that particular role, and she does find them. If you think about it, it's a little thankless because we know that Jessica's dear Dottie, matronly friend Dorothy, is actually a man, but Jessica Lange in this scene doesn't know that.
And someday, huh?
What? Oh, you mean about doing it over again? Tell me, does that happen often?
Every once in a while. You know, we actually had to do it live once.
Live?
You should have seen Van Horn's face. Of course, you couldn't see Van Horn's face because he was so panicked we had to shoot him from the back. You want some more?
Well, no, thanks. I better be getting home. I have to wash my hair. Thanks anyway.
Dorothy?
Yeah?
Listen, I know this is exactly what you want to hear right now, but we've got 26 pages tomorrow, and I was just wondering if you could find it in your heart to come over and run some lines with me tonight.
Well,
but I could make you something to eat. A night, Faye. I'm a born to foster.
There's a really nice vulnerability there. There are a lot of ways you could play that situation that would lead to bad laughs at the wrong thing. But Jessica Lange is so sincere and so open in the way she plays it that it works. And because her crucial character works in this movie, the whole movie works. It'd be bad if we thought she was a dummy and just didn't know that this woman was a guy. That wouldn't work.
You know, she's so sweet and vulnerable. You're exactly right. I thought of Marilyn Monroe's character in Some Like It Hot, Sugar King, always getting the fuzzy end of the lollipop. Same kind of character here, beautifully played. But another reason that I'd vote for her, frankly, is her character is much larger than the other 4 nominated supporting actresses. And because it's larger, it stands out
Well, you're
more.
not saying that she should get the nomination because she has more lines of dialogue,
No, but I am saying that these competitions are kind of unfair because the size of the parts can vary dramatically in both the lead category and in the supporting category. Okay, If We Pick the Oscars continues next with the Best Actress category. And now we come to the Best Actress category, and frankly, this is a much weaker category than the Best Actor category this year because the roles for women in the movie still are nowhere near as strong as those for men. The nominees include Julie Andrews, her 3rd nomination, first in 17 years since The Sound of Music, playing an out-of-work singer in Paris in the 30s, and who, and this is kind of tough to follow, she masquerades as a male singer who impersonates a woman in his act in the musical comedy Victor Victoria.
Baby, 'cause I love my
I didn't care much for this performance at all, actually. I never believed Julie Andrews could pass as a man, and frankly, I never forgot I was watching Julie Andrews. She seemed much too restrained for this high-energy comedy.
I agree with the second part, but not with the first. I didn't think we were supposed to believe she was a man.
Well, the character's
it's
supposed
just a
to be.
comedy, so that's okay. But on the other hand, I agree, her energy wasn't as high as people like Preston and Garner and Lesley Ann Warren.
Okay.
So that's true.
Nothing special then, right? Okay. Our next nominee, the popular Sissy Spacek. Her 3rd nomination, playing the wife of that missing American journalist in South America in Missing.
Did you find out anything in Washington?
No, but Putnam there seems to think that things down here are in pretty good hands. You don't agree?
Well, I don't expect a whole hell of a lot anymore.
Why?
He's been gone 2 weeks.
I think this was just a routine role and a routine performance by Sissy Spacek, one of our most talented actresses. Nothing special here, but then again, she's not asked to do anything special.
Well, I was not one of the big fans of Missing. I think it was sort of overrated. I think her performance is sort of predictable, and she's done a lot of better work than this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Our next nominee, Meryl Streep, her 4th nomination in just 5 years. She plays a Polish professor's daughter who suffered unspeakable horrors in a Nazi concentration camp. The movie is Sophie's Choice.
When I was a little girl, I remember I lay in bed and I hear my mother downstairs playing the piano and the sound of my father's typewriter. I think no child has a more wonderful father and mother.
This was a great technical performance. Meryl Streep mastering Polish and German and English as it would be spoken by a Polish immigrant. And it also was an extraordinarily soulful performance, with Streep having to play, in effect, a beautiful woman with a disfigurement. Not a visible scar or a limp or something like that, but a soul that has lost some of its faith in itself and its fellow human beings.
You're right that a lot of the drama here is off screen. There are whole stretches of Sophie's Choice where we don't know why she's acting the way she's acting. Later on we find out and we go back and we can think about it. It's really a good performance.
She's mesmerizing. Also nominated in the Best Actress category, Deborah Winger. Her 1st nomination portraying a Seattle paper mill worker who falls in love with a young Navy cadet and she doesn't want him to get away.
Pull on.
I'm gonna try real hard not to fool anybody about who I am, what I want.
I know who you are and what you want.
And what do you want?
I want to have a good time until you have to leave.
I've really grown to take Deborah Winger more seriously as an actress lately. Originally, I thought she was just like a lot of her roles, a cute little girl woman. But there is a core of steel in each and every one of the characters she has played. And my guess is that Deborah Winger, the actress, puts that toughness in her characters as much as any scriptwriter does. A nice performance.
And the steel would be appropriate here because this character that she plays is working for a living. She's working hard all day. She has very few joys in her life. She knows what she wants. She goes after it. And that's very well acted in this particular movie.
And because she looks so young and girlish, I think she doesn't get enough credit.
Could be.
Okay. Our final nominee for Best Actress, Jessica Lange, her second nomination this year, playing the lead role of actress Frances Farmer, a Hollywood star of the 30s who sadly spent a lot of time in mental hospitals. Frances Farmer was an actress understandably sour on the way Hollywood treats women.
I'm going to Hollywood.
You an actor?
Hell yes. Well, I'm still in school, but...
You're serious about acting?
Well, yes.
Don't go to Hollywood.
Why?
Because it'll crush you.
You sound as if you hate it.
No, I'm just not that anxious to get back.
There's a tendency, you know, always to think it's great acting when an actor or actress plays a tragic character and does a lot of screaming. But so much of what Frances Farmer experienced is so awful, the arrests, the mental hospitals, that I have to give credit to Jessica Lange for giving the character of Frances Farmer enough life and spirit that the movie worked and wasn't a total bummer. A very strong performance.
And she provides the dramatic center, too, because the movie just doesn't give us a lot of easy answers, like here's a list of the villains who destroyed her life. She's on in almost every scene, and she's got to play against these people in such a way as to let us know what's going on.
And we also begin to think she was her own villain, too.
Yes, that's right.
And now it's time for the envelopes, please. And I'll thank myself. Here it is.
Yes.
Okay, and your vote, the one you would pick of the 5, Meryl Streep.
Meryl Streep for Sophie's Choice, very definitely. And I have your ballot here, right here, and it says Meryl Streep for Sophie's Choice.
That's right. We're
very good
agreeing
choice
here.
Excellent choice.
Well, I voted for her, too, though it's a very close call for me between Streep and Jessica Lange. Again, comparing these roles is sort of silly, but if I had to vote, I'd vote for Streep. I'm not the biggest fan of the movie Sophie's Choice, as I mentioned, but it did come alive for me each time that Meryl Streep was on the screen. In this scene, she tells a young writer who has moved into the same rooming house where she and her boyfriend Nathan live how Nathan saved her life.
I had scurbut.
No. She means the scurvy.
Yeah, I had...
And typhus and anemia and scarlet fever. It was a miracle that she emerged from that camp alive.
Right. I mean, I thought that I had leukemia. I thought I was dying. But it was Nathan that said that it was only anemia.
Are you a doctor? No. That's my brother's domain. But I'm a biologist.
Yeah.
I graduated in science from Harvard.
And he was the MAA in developmental and cellular biology.
Yeah, I do research
He
now.
works at Pfizer.
It's a big pharmaceutical house here in Brooklyn. Anyway, I took her to this friend of my brother's, a doctor who teaches up at Columbia Presbyterian.
Yeah.
He confirmed my diagnosis. And we put the little sweetie here on massive doses of ferrous sulfate. And she began to bloom like a rose.
She does look like a beautiful flower there. Even when the others are speaking in that scene, my eyes were always drawn to Meryl Streep, not because she was using any scene-stealing tricks, but because she made Sophie seem like such a special, glowing character. And Meryl Streep has done that with each of the characters she has played, even that rather drab young woman she played in The Deer Hunter. And that glow of life is what gets my vote.
You know, a lot of people talk about the accent in there as if it were some kind of a trick. And as a matter of fact, she is so good at speaking English as if she were Polish, at least to my ear. That is not an accent at all. It's Sophie speaking. And movie accents are a joke going back 30 years. I mean, all the Germans all spoke the same way. All the British spoke the same way. This is part of the performance. It's not a trick at all.
I agree, and what I like is sometimes the way she's talking there, she doesn't realize how tragic her story is there. She is like a creature that has been cared for, and she's not a full person there. She's acting almost like a child there. She's had her life reconstructed. It's beautiful acting.
I want to see if you notice one other thing. when the others are talking, they're speaking her second language or her third language,
Right.
English. She lets one beat go past before she responds to what has just been said in English, just long enough so that her character could figure out what was just said. That's
Good eyes.
a small touch, but it's very nice. Coming up next, the Best Supporting Actor category. Our next category, if we pick the Oscars, is Best Supporting Actor. And this category this year tends to include some very strong performances, complicated ones, not just what Hollywood calls character parts. Let's have a look at the 5 nominees. John Lithgow was the 3rd nominee this year to play a member of the opposite sex. He appeared as a transsexual in The World According to Garp.
Haven't I seen you before? You like football? Oh, yeah, I used to watch it quite a bit. Well, you might have seen me. I was a tight end with the Philadelphia Eagles. Number 90, Robert Muldoon. Oh, yeah. I had a great pair of hands.
The next nominee is veteran British actor James Mason as a vicious Boston lawyer in The Verdict.
What did your team do then? You brought 30 years of medical experience to bear, isn't that what you did?
Yes.
A patient riddled with complications, with questionable information on a medical chart.
We did everything we could.
To save her and to save the child.
Yes.
You reached down into death.
My God, we tried to save her. You can't know. You can't know.
Good. Good.
Next up for Best Supporting Actor, Robert Preston. He was Julie Andrews' partner in sexual deception in Victor Victoria.
You're the greatest, but you're unknown, except in Poland.
Poland?
You're Count Krasinski, Polish aristocrat. You speak very little English.
Oh, now wait a minute.
We met in Warsaw, fell in love, and I brought you to Paris.
Hold it.
What's wrong?
What's wrong? What's right? A woman pretending to be a man, pretending to be a woman?
Ridiculous.
Lou Gossett Jr. was the drill sergeant and an officer and a gentleman. He was taking Richard Gere's defiant attitude as a personal challenge.
I done some checking. I looked through your files. I know about your mama. They don't do eye for me. You know, your father's the alcoholic and a hole chaser. That's why you don't mesh, Neil.
And Charles Durney was the best thing in the best little whorehouse in Texas, doing a dance as the state governor.
I am taking certain steps here. Someone somewhere's gone. I have to close her down. Ooh, I love to dance a little side step. Now they see me, now they don't. I've come and gone. And ooh, I love to sweep around the wide step. Cut a little swat and leave the people on.
Well, those are the nominees for Best Supporting Actor, and now it's time for our decision. Who should win in this category? If we were
You
making
go
the
first.
choices,
You're in for a real surprise.
Mr. Siskel votes for Lou Gossett Jr.
That's right, in an
Very good
officer and a
choice.
gentleman.
I congratulate you on it.
Okay, well, this is getting sort of pathetic.
That's
You
right.
agree, Louis Gossett Jr. in an officer and a
Just
gentleman.
goes to show you, Gene, that every once in a while you are right. What I liked about Lou Gossett are the choices that he made to make the role from collapsing into cliches. And let's face it, we've seen this basic character before in dramas and comedies lots of times, and we know more or less what's going to happen with this drill instructor. He's going to make it his personal business to break the defiance of the young recruit, and that's exactly what Gossett does in this scene, finding non-regulation shined shoes.
In every class, there's always one joker who thinks that he's smarter than me. In this class, there happens to be you. Isn't it, mayonnaise? Pyramid, Wally, let us have this room. On the double.
Couldn't happen to nicer guys.
Do it. Neil, I want your DOR.
No, sir. You can kick me out of here, but I ain't quitting.
Get into your fatigues, Mel. By the end of this weekend, you'll quit.
Richard Gere, of course, and Lou Gossett Jr. An officer and a gentleman is a pretty standard story, but Gossett made this character into a specific individual, and he did it by being just a little more intellectual, just a little more sophisticated and sensitive and complicated than we expected a drill sergeant to be. When an actor can make a cliche into a character, that's acting, and that's what Lou Gossett Jr. does in An Officer and a Gentleman.
He's terrific. He's the second most powerful character, I think, in the film, after Gere, and I think he's in the supporting category. And Deborah Winger, who's less important, frankly, in the film, less screen time, she's in the supporting
That's an illustration,
category.
probably, of the fact that actresses' roles are not as important all the way up the line.
Exactly. I want to tell you a little story I
Okay.
heard from Taylor Hackford, the director on this film. He said that the part was originally written for a white man. They couldn't find anyone to play it. Gossett heard about it. He applied, got the job. They said, "Do you want us to rewrite the character?" He says, "No, I want to play this character as written," and played it just that way. A terrific performance. If We Pick the Oscars continues next with the jackpot category of Best Movie.
Now we come to the most important category, the category that could almost guarantee a movie immortality, Best Movie. The nominees this year for Best Picture include Gandhi, the life story of the great nonviolent Indian leader, an epic production this was, literally with a cast of thousands.
Mahatma Gandhi has become the spokesman for the conscience of all mankind. He was a man who made humility and simple truth more powerful than empires. And Albert Einstein added, "Generations to come will scarce believe that such a one as this, ever in flesh and blood, walked upon this earth."
The next nominee for Best Picture is E.T., the top box office movie of all time, about a lonely little extraterrestrial stranded light years from home.
Gates open. Look at these. Coyotes come back again, Mom.
Okay, party's over. Everybody back inside. Hurry up. Quick, hurry up. Tyler, give me that knife.
Oh, great. Nice one, Elliot.
It was an accident. A pizza.
Yeah,
Who
accident.
said you guys could order a pizza, huh? Him. But in the house.
You geek, man.
Well, Mom, it was really nice dinner.
Douchebag, Elliot.
Don't douchebag talk in my house.
The third nominee for Best Picture is Tootsie, the story of how an unemployed New York actor got a job as a New York actress.
For your left.
What?
Is that my left or your left?
Wait a minute. What are you talking about? My left?
Your left.
Miss Michaels, nobody's talking to you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you wanted my profile.
Not so close on camera 3.
Camera 3, back off.
I'd like to make her look a little more attractive. How far can you pull back?
How do you feel about Cleveland?
Next up for Best Picture, Missing, a controversial movie about the CIA's involvement in Latin American politics with innocent people snatched violently by government agents.
When were you in Dean? We just got back yesterday. Want to hear something strange? Our hotel was full of American military officers.
I'd forget about that.
Hey, wait a minute.
And the last nominee is The Verdict, the story of an alcoholic lawyer's one last chance to win a case and win back his self-esteem.
But when they step into that jury box, you can just barely see it in their eyes. Maybe.
Maybe what?
Maybe I can do something right.
And with those nominees for Best Picture, it's time for me to open Gene's envelope.
Yeah. Boy, kill it. Burn
These envelopes are industrial strength. And
Right.
your selection for Best Picture would be Tootsie.
That's exactly right. For me, it was an almost perfect comedy. In this wonderfully alive scene, Dustin Hoffman, masquerading as an actress without anyone else knowing, makes his first appearance on a live TV soap opera.
5, 4, 3.
Anthea. Oh, Anthea.
Freeze up, ready, 125.
Oh, Anthea.
Susan, you know.
Nurse Charles, are you insane?
I'm Emily Kimberly, the new hospital administrator. Nurse Charles, what on earth is going on here, dear?
Help me get her to her feet, Miss Kimberly.
Guns up.
John's going.
too.
Yeah.
Oh. Nurse Charles, tend to your patient and think on your own time. Is that clear?
Yes, Miss...
Kimberly.
Kimberly.
Dr. Brewster, you and I must talk.
Talk to me, Rita. You want to keep rolling?
It's okay, it's okay. The girl says it.
You haven't changed at all, Emily.
Oh, but I have, Lesley.
You know, Emily, there's no reason for us to be in opposite camps. We can rule Southwest General together. I admire people with power. Women with power, especially.
God, she hit him on the head. Rita, she hit him over the head.
And then not consider a threat? I'm afraid, Dr. Brewster, that you have underestimated me. If you want to win me over, you'll have to deal with my mind and not my lips.
Oh, everything is right with that scene. The direction is dazzling. It's almost impossible to focus on all the good things that are happening in that scene. The nods, the winks, the teleprompter, Hoffman's masquerade as Dorothy, improvising all those lines. This is a masterful piece of filmmaking, a joyous comedy made even better with its insights into the way we're trained to behave as men and as women.
Gee, I thought it was pretty good, too, but
Okay.
you really think
I love it.
shook when you saw it.
I love it. Okay, your choice?
Let's see what my choice was, yes.
2 letters.
E.T. That's what I thought it was. That's right. And here's the scene that shows the special appeal of this movie, the way it looks at life from waist level, from a child's eye point of view, as a little kid named Elliot argues that he did so see a strange creature in the backyard, and it wasn't no iguana either.
What are you going after Halloween? I'm not going to stupid Halloween.
Why don't you go as a goblin?
Shut up.
It's not that we don't believe you, honey.
Well, it was real, I swear.
What are you going as, Gert?
I'm going as a cowgirl. So, what else is here?
Maybe it was an iguana.
It was no iguana.
Maybe you know how they say there are alligators in the sewers?
Alligators in the sewers.
All we're trying to say is maybe you just probably imagined it.
I couldn't have imagined it.
In a curious way, the instantly recognizable realism of the way those kids talk and their attitudes toward each other helped to make E.T. more realistic in this movie. The household is so real that E.T. becomes more real, too. And as for E.T. being my choice, there may be greater and more profound nominees this year. I suppose there are. But E.T. demonstrates so many of the universal reasons why we all go to the movies and why we love movies. It's a thriller. It challenges our imagination. It's funny. It's sad. And here's another thing. I think this is an ageless movie. A lot of the serious movies that win Academy Awards are forgotten after 20 years. But this will be a movie like The Wizard of Oz or Singing in the Rain. It's going to be just as entertaining and joyous and ageless 40 years from now.
Well, it's a very fine film, and my choice was between those 2 pictures, E.T. and Tootsie. The only thing that I could make the draw on was that E.T. for me, the dying sequence was a little hokey and corny to me. Yes. And Tootsie, flawless. Caught me totally by surprise.
I had a tear in my eye when I thought E.T. was going to die. I mean, I was going to buy it.
And I didn't.
You're heartless.
No, I'm not heartless. I loved a lot of E.T. Don't lay that on me.
Oh, I'm sorry. You are relatively heartless.
Thank you very much. Next up on this special program, our choice for the worst nomination this year. So much for the classy nominations. Before we go, there's one more award that Roger and I would love to give, and that's to the worst nomination on this year's list, the stinker nomination of the year. This is a joint vote between Roger and me, and Roger, you have the
This
envelope.
is the Academy Award Stinker of the Year, and the suspense is building since we both know that this is a 3-way tie.
You're right. The winners of the worst nomination this year are, you'll hand me that envelope.
Okay, there they are. I'm sure you've forgotten the name.
Oh, yes. Alan and Marilyn Bergman, Alan and Marilyn Bergman, and Alan and Marilyn Bergman.
A clean sweep.
They wrote the lyrics for an unprecedented 3 of the 5 nominated Best Original Songs. And the songs are, How Do You Keep the Music Playing from Best Friends? Remember that one?
No.
It Might Be You from Tootsie. Were you singing that as you walked out of the aisle?
I was
Peter?
forgetting it.
Thank you. And If We Were in Love from Yes, Giorgio, with opera star Luciano Pavarotti falling in love with Catherine Harold. Here's the way that song sounded. great rhymes in that one, huh? Now, Alan and Marilyn Bergman have written, to be fair, some very fine songs. The Way We Were is their best-known song. But these 3 song lyrics were awful this year. They were interchangeable, cookie-cutter lyrics, instantly forgettable. And so our Stinker Nomination Award to Alan and Marilyn Bergman.
I think it's a little too cozy out there on the music branch of the Academy. They vote for each other. It'd be better if they were like the special effects people and vote for those songs that really made an impression on the public. Like this year, the nominees include Eye of the Tiger from Rocky III, Up Where We Belong from Officer and a Gentleman. People have heard those songs. These other 3 songs that were nominated, you never heard them before. You can't remember them while you're listening to them.
Yeah.
And now we have to sit through them again on Academy Award night. It's a dreary, dreary prospect.
The whole point is that they're not worthy of having an Oscar nomination.
Well, you're right, and that's it for this special program. If we were picking the Oscars, and if we were, there'd be some good ones given out this year. Those are our preferences. We'll be watching along with you on April the 11th when the Academy makes its choices. And until then, we'll see you at the movies.
Hooray for Raisinets! Now you can enjoy one of the all-time favorite movie candies at home. Goobers and Snowcaps, too. Hooray for Raisinets! Now great sound is affordable in matched stereo systems. The Kenwood Spectrum Series. Kenwood, the next step in sound. Introducing Glade Smoke Away, a tough new Glade specially formulated to eliminate smoke odors instantly and make your home fresher.